Hey, it's Dawn from Happy Home and Garden with John and Dawn, and today we're going to replace an ignition switch on a 2007 Subaru Outback 2.5i basic model. Now, if you have a different year of Subaru Outback or a different model of Subaru, and your ignition switch looks like this, chances are that this is the same repair. And this is a very easy repair to do. It'll probably take you about 10 or 15 minutes. Oh, and hey, if you like things like gardening and DIY and crafting and things like that, please subscribe to our channel. We're kind of small right now, so we could really use subscribers. So let's get to it. So twice now we've had a problem where the car hasn't started properly. It can be jumped and then it starts, so we thought it was the battery. So we got a new battery and it still had the problem once again. We narrowed it down to pretty much either it's going to be the starter was the problem or this ignition switch. And since the ignition switch is cheaper than replacing the starter, we figured we'd start with that first. This is the part number. I ended up going to the Subaru dealership. This is just under 50 bucks. I did try to get this from one of those other auto places, but they did not have them, or they didn't have a warranty, or they didn't have the right part number. It's a good idea to take the negative connection off of the battery, just in case you set the airbag off, because that would be a very bad thing. Next, you'll need a Phillips number 2 screwdriver at an angle to remove the screw that's below the steering column and just above the steering column adjustment lever. Next, you'll need a flathead screwdriver to pry down the bottom part of the casing of the steering column. It comes down just like this, and then on the left-hand side it'll already be apart a little bit, but you do need to use the little handle that adjusts the steering column right on the bottom in order for the bottom piece of the housing to come off. And this is the location of the ignition switch. Now here I started to remove the screws, but don't do this and you'll see why in a second. On the left-hand side of the switch, there's a plug with wires on it. And in the middle of it is a little thing that you can depress to get the plug out. However, this really needs to be rocked back and forth in order to get it out. So you kind of have to move the bottom out a little bit, and the top out a little bit, and the bottom, and the top, and the bottom, top, and you get the idea. And you need to sort of wiggle this thing out, because I really had a heck of a time getting this out, but I eventually did get it out just like this. Now, in order to get the screws out, you do need to use an angled screwdriver like here. Then remove the one on the bottom right, and then remove the one on the top left. Now we did have to use a flathead screwdriver in order to get that little screw out of there. Just like that. Now we take this out. There we go. Alright. A little clip here. There we go. Next you'll need to get this little clip from underneath the plug out with both fingernails on each side. Put your fingernail in there. And then... So after it launched out and I had to retrieve it from the floor, this is what the little clip looks like, and that's the orientation that it goes on the plug. Now this part here I kind of had to guess at. This is a 1/16 of an inch flathead screwdriver. And I had to put this through the back of the plug, because the way that the plug is made, it's sort of like there's a little groove in the top, and you kind of have to stick the screwdriver in the back of it really hard and lift up. Now this did break the original ignition switch, but that's okay because I wasn't going to use it again anyway. It came off though. There we go. Okay, so take this part and slip that on. Just like so. Keeping it in this position. Hold this little thing, and that's a hole, and that faces the wires. So now we need to put that in. Push it down. Oh, there it goes. Hey, alright. That clips into there. People talking on the street. So now that it's over 3.5 years since starting this video, as you can see by my hair and also by my face because I lost 30 pounds since then, yay, it actually wasn't the ignition switch, believe it or not. We did replace the starter, but that wasn't it. We tested the alternator, and that wasn't it either. We checked the wires in the 2 compartments under the seat. We did find some evidence of critters, but the wires were still intact. We checked the relays and fuses in the front, and the relays and fuses inside, and those were good too. The one thing we think triggered all these problems was using one of these Bluetooth OBD meters. It was giving us some wacky readings, so after bringing it to the Subaru dealer and them clearing apparently hundreds of codes, the car had been running great ever since. I think we had one other time it didn't start, but after waiting a few minutes and started again, it worked fine. The other thing you can try if your car is not starting is to put the key in the ignition into the accessory mode, step on the brake, and then put the gear shifter in another gear, and then try to start the car. Sometimes there's a loose connection in here, and that will actually help the car start. But if there is a loose connection, you might want to get that checked out. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Check out some of our other videos too while you're here. Thanks again. Bye!